It's time for our budget segment every week, Sudden Substitution. We take the price of an expensive EDH card and give you some budget options. So this week, we're going to look at probably the most powerful landing commander. I think you could safely say. Yeah, Cabal Coffers, obviously alongside Urborg, and the beauty of it is if you draw your Coffers, somebody at the table might have an Urborg for you. Makes a lot of mana. Of course, it's also very pricey. So with that in mind, we're going to come up with some budget alternatives here. So DJ, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
So Cabal Coffers is something I play in Galanti, and basically I think all of these cards that we're going to talk about I play in Galanti, but one of my favorites is Nirkana Revenant. This is another card that scales off your swamps. It is a 6-mana 4/4 from Rise of the Eldrazi. It was reprinted in Battle Bond. It went down super low to like $2 or $3, and then it bounced back to 10, but it's still a small fraction of Cabal Coffer's price. It just lets all your swamps tap for an additional black, and you can sometimes power it up. I think people forget about that, though.
Yeah.
They'll let it through, and then you pump it to 26 and crack them in the head. But Nirkana Revenant is $10. I don't think that this card is I don't think it's a bad time to buy this card. I'll just put it that way. It can still.
Well, the card used to be very expensive before the reprint.
Oh yeah, it was like $25 before the Battle Bond. It got crushed. But Nirkana Revenant is a very solid budget option for Cabal Coffers.
Absolutely, and people jam it in decks with sort of its smaller cousin Cryptgas all the time. Does the same thing with doubling of your swamps. So
yep.
The thing is, most of these black decks are going to have all of the above, and that's where you want to get. And Cabal Coffers will be the top.
Well,
of
and
this list.
It's got an Urborg.
Yeah,
like when you get an Urborg out, like all of a sudden all your plains and mountains are getting doubled by Cryptcast also. So
yeah, that's right.
If
Jason,
you run Coffers, you're running Urborg for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jason, what would you point to this week?
Mine's a little bit more expensive than DJ's double whammy pick of Cryptgas and whatever his other card was.
Nirkana Revenant.
I got like a $20 card, which is what Cabal Coffers was a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's not 70 like Coffers.
I think this card's a little awkward to reprint, so I kind of think even if you buy it at its current price, you're not going to get completely blown out even by a reprint. I like about $20 for Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. This is a card that doesn't count your swamps, but it does count your black pips. And black's a color that is like, you got your Necropotence, you got your Phyrexian Arena, you got your Cryptghast. You start counting all your black pips up, and all of a sudden, hey, I've got about 7 black pips, so I'm paying 2, tapping Nykthos.
Pips being colored mana symbols.
Right. You're paying 2, you're tapping the Nykthos, all of a sudden you're netting like 4 or 5 mana. So, it really can help you accelerate if you're keeping permanents in play. And, it's not quite Cabal Coffers, but at the same time, it's a little easier to play something like Necropotence. That's 1 permanent that counts for 3 for Nykthos versus 1 swamp only counting for 1 for Cabal Coffers. And the great thing about Nykthos is it doesn't need to go in a black deck. You can do it in any color. So all of a sudden you've got 4 or 5 green creatures and enchantments, and you're netting mana in all of those different colors. So I think Nykthos is a little bit, it's a little bit more versatile. It doesn't really, have that huge bump that that Cabal Coffers gets from Urborg, but at the same time, all your permanents that you're managing to keep in play in any color. So this could like power white and red and other colors that don't really ramp that well. I think Nykthos it's much more versatile, and that's why it's managed to to be a $20 card right now.
That's right. I'll want to finish it off with sort of the throwback to Cabal Coffers, Cabal Stronghold out of Dominaria. Now, when it came out, everyone learned very quickly that this was not Cabal Coffers. It's a land taps to add a generic 3 and a tap, add black for each basic swamp you control. Does not work with Urborg. So everyone kind of poo-pooed this card.
It can work with Urborg. If your Urborg turns your basic plains into basic swamps.
Well, there you go.
Then they will.
you can find that way to go with it as well. But the great thing about Cabal Stronghold is how kind of underappreciated it went. Everyone's like, this is such a bad Cabal Coffers, without stopping to think that, it's a bad Cabal Coffers, but It doesn't matter because Cabal Coffers is really good, and a really bad Cabal Coffers can still be a really good card. And Cabal Stronghold, clocking in just under $4 is another great budget option there for your Cabal Coffers. So, everybody, hope you enjoy Sudden Substitution here every week. Please take a second to subscribe to the channel, interact with this video, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's all interaction.
Suggestions of the next card to do.
Yeah, and give us your pick for the next expensive Commander cards to do replacements for.